afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be with you today. Today, I want to talk to you about ideas. My husband always makes fun of me. He says that this phrase that you can see on the screen, he says that it's my favorite phrase ever. He says that I say it all the time. And it's true. I am in love with having ideas. I think that ideas are really what define our path and where we go. But lately, I have realized how important it is to adapt those ideas. And I think it's incredibly powerful when we recognize that. Because I think that if we have learned something, it's that life is really not a straight line. And we grow, don't we? We become someone different. We learn, we change. And our ideas are meant to change with us, to grow with us. Today, I want to give you an example. One of the questions that I think we get asked all the time when we're growing up is, what do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to be? Well, I got asked that question a bunch of times as well. And I know that when I was about 6 or 7 years old, I told my mom, I'll figure it out. I have an idea. I want to be a supermarket cashier. My mom, the first thing she did was ask me why. And then I told her, well, because I don't want to be bored. And cashiers, they don't never seem to be bored. They're always doing something. And they do math. I like math. I'll give myself credit for having a why behind what I was saying, right? I didn't want to be bored. Noted. And I liked math. True. I still do. But as I grew up, I realized that I like other things as well, not just math. And I wanted to do more than this. I realized I wanted to do something that would have a big impact, that would feel like it mattered, that it was changing a life. So I remember that when I went into high school, I changed it and I said, okay, my idea is no longer that I want to be a cashier. I want to be a doctor. I want to study medicine. And believe me when I tell you, I was 100% behind that idea. I was getting ready. I was all signed up to do my test to go to the university and study medicine. But then I did a small internship where you get kind of some exposure to, to this career path that you want to follow to make sure that it's for you. Thankfully, those things exist because as the story goes for many others, I know that it doesn't happen just to me. It turns out I can't stand blood. I almost fainted on my internship. No, okay, fine. I fainted. I did faint. And half of the team of doctors actually had to come take care of me instead of the patient. I was miserable. I couldn't stand the stress of the patients being scared. I was scared with them. It wasn't my thing. And so, like 3 or 4 months before graduating from high school, I said, you know what? I was wrong. This idea doesn't make any sense because I don't want to be miserable. I want to do something that I actually enjoy. So I changed again. And then by 2010, when I was going to graduate from high school, I said, I want to be a chemical engineer. At that point, I was part of the International Chemistry Olympiads. So in the training, I was taking classes and lessons on chemistry for 8 hours a day, and I loved it. So I said, okay, this is what I like. I love chemistry, and I have to do something with this. I am originally from Venezuela, and in Venezuela, the oil industry pretty much supports our entire economy. So my goal was to become a chemical engineer and be part of the oil industry. Bulletproof idea, if you ask me back then. Well, I did go to engineering school. I graduated, but when I was right about to graduate, I did an internship as well in the oil industry, my dream. I learned that as much as I loved this industry, it actually was the third largest contributor to CO2 emissions. In the chemical industry, we produce over 800 megatons of CO2 every year. And I realized that as much as I admire this industry, I wanted more from it. I wanted to be proud of the sustainability initiatives that it had. I wanted to change this. So I said, okay, I do want to be a chemical engineer. I am a chemical engineer. But it turns out I don't want to be in the oil industry just like that. I want to change it a little bit. So this crazy idea got into me of I want to create solar powered chemicals. Why? Because I want to build something that helps our planet. And that is how in 2017, I moved to the United States to do a PhD in chemical engineering and learn how to develop the sustainable technologies on my own. My thesis really is dedicated to making solar powered nylon. I put 3.5 years of my life into that because I truly believed in it. But it wasn't easy, you know? When I came here, I came to New York University, but I was coming from Venezuela. And in Venezuela, I don't know if you know this, but we have had a terrible, the most difficult crisis at all levels, economical, political, civic levels. And that meant that even if I went to the best engineering school in Venezuela, we didn't have all the resources that we needed. So when I arrived in the United States, I was behind. And by behind, I mean very far behind. I remember, and what I'm going to show you right now is a true screenshot from my phone. I was just starting in the lab, and I was surrounded by these absolutely brilliant PhD students. They all knew everything around the lab. I had never seen that equipment before. I remember I just pretended that it kind of like wasn't there and I wasn't looking at it to avoid getting stressed. But I remember receiving a particular box that said all over it that it was a sonicator. I had never heard that word before. And this is an actual screenshot from my phone where I was just looking up what is the sonicator? What does it do? It turns out it's an equipment that helps you dissolve something in a mixture. It is extremely standard, very simple equipment that you find in pretty much every lab in the United States. Of course, everyone around me more than knew what it was. And this is just one example. I thought that every equipment around me was something insane and crazy that I had never seen. I felt like I didn't belong, like I was too far behind, and that I wasn't going to be able to pull this off. I felt like I was an imposter, you know, the imposter syndrome. I did feel that. I wasn't pretending that I'm at the same level as all these PhD students who have had a training that's much better than mine. They know so much more than me. And I'm so behind that I'm never going to catch up. Well, I worked really hard, really, really hard. And little by little, I got my rhythm. I learned, I caught up with everyone, and I did what I wanted to do. I started developing my solar powered chemicals. Of course, life happens. And I didn't want to just develop technologies that were solar powered, but that would remain in a manuscript or in a research paper somewhere. I wanted that technology to make it to industry. And as I started talking to people in the market, in industry, mentors in business, I kept getting this feedback. Your dream is too big. You're too naive. And they also told me many times, sustainability as you want it is not enough. Solar powered processes are not going to make it to industry just because you want to. You're just one girl. It's never going to happen. Well, I can tell you that today, I still believe that they were wrong on the part that sustainability is not enough. Sustainability has to be enough because we have only one planet and we need to change. But they did have a point. And because they told me all these things, I kept thinking about this idea that I had of making solar powered chemicals. And I said, okay, maybe they're right in one thing. Developing one solar powered chemical takes years, takes a lot of money. And then it's only one chemical. How many chemicals do we make in the chemical industry? We're talking about millions. So if I want to change all of that on my own, I mean, the math doesn't work there. I'm not going to have enough years of my life to be able to pull that off. So I changed my idea again because I want something that can be implemented. I said, okay, what I really want to do is bring AI to the chemical industry because artificial intelligence is going to be the key to develop those sustainable processes. In fact, what I believe is that we can communicate our chemical reactors with artificial intelligence so that instead of having to run a lot of experiments and taking many years to develop one sustainable process, artificial intelligence will do that for us. The challenge and the reason why this hasn't happened is because artificial intelligence works with big data. We're probably all familiar with that. There's lots of data, and then a machine can learn from it. Well, in the chemical industry, that's not the case. Data is very expensive. We don't have a lot of it. And so artificial intelligence just hasn't found its place there. But I believe that we can do this. And of course, there's people who hear my idea and they have told me many times, you're crazy. Well, at least the feedback is shorter. They go straight to the point. Very honest people. I do have to admit that I like that. Am I crazy? Maybe. But I do believe in what I'm doing. I do it because I have a reason for it. I do it because I love being a chemical engineer. I do it because I love developing technologies that help our planet. And I do it because I think this is the key to have it implemented in the industry. And today, I am the co founder and the CEO of Synthetics. At Synthetics, we do precisely what I believe is going to be the future of our industry. We have artificial intelligence platforms that chemists and chemical engineers in the industry can use directly. They upload a few data points from their experiments, and they can get in a matter of seconds information about how to run that process so that it is as sustainable as possible, so that it is as efficient, solar powered, and as sustainable as they want it to be. As much as I've had people who have not believed in this, I've also had people who have lent me a hand and who have helped me grow. Today, we have raised $900,000 for this idea of a more sustainable chemical industry. More than this, I have been fortunate enough and lucky enough to get awards and features from many different places. I look at this and I have trouble believing that the same girl that 4 years ago got to the United States and didn't even know what a sonicator was, the same girl that felt completely lost and that thought that maybe she should just quit, that same girl today I see my face on Forbes magazine, on MIT Technology Review, the Wall Street Journal, New York Times. There is a documentary by National Geographic. It's available on Disney Plus. I invite you to watch it. It's called On the Room, and it tells my story. And I watched these things and I can't believe it. I can't believe it because I just had this crazy idea that I didn't know how to make happen. But I stayed true to it. And I fought very hard to get to where I am today. What I want you to walk away with is the fact that when we have those crazy ideas, we need to give them a chance. We need to give them a chance when we know that there is a why behind it. I look back, right, at that 6, 7-year-old girl who said that she wanted to be a supermarket cashier. I'm actually very proud of that because I was answering the question, and my ideas of what I wanted to be were true to me, were true to my why. I knew that I liked math and I knew that I didn't want to be bored. And back then, that's all I saw that made sense to me. I wasn't doing what I thought I was supposed to do or what somebody told me that I had to be doing. I was doing what I cared about and what I believed in. I invite you to do the same thing today with all of your ideas, with all of your dreams and your goals. Ask yourself why you want to do that. Because if you have a reason behind it, then you have the motivation to fight for it, even when things become hard, even when it seems like you're not going to make it. I know that probably you will ask yourself also, why me? Well, the answer is very simple. Even if somebody else has had the same idea, they're not you. That idea has not been pursued by you. That dream has not been followed by you. And when you do it, you will bring something new to the table. Trust the process and adapt with it. Because as you grow, your idea will grow with you. It will mature with you. And before you realize it, you'll be looking back and thinking, what's my story? Where did this all start? I know where mine started, and I am sure that you can find yours. Thank you very much for your very kind attention.